Oh, right. Sure. Okay, you want to be on which side?
So you have seat that side?
Can. Oh, okay.
Sit on this side.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
So you're going to wear...
Later at the end, remember how we got hands again?
sorry?
Later at the end of the scene, we are okay, round of applause for Xiang.
Woo!
We need like a, as if there's a lot of people watching the show.
Yeah. Okay.
You can put on the headphones. You should be
Yep.
able to hear the sound.
Okay, are we... Quite interesting. Yeah, I can hear, but I'm pretty loud.
Too loud? Usually it's not very loud. Okay, hold on.
No, I mean I'm fine. Actually, yeah, this is good. Yeah.
That's yeah, alright. The closer you are, the clearer it will become.
Yep. Perfect.
This is such an Asian pose.
Yeah.
The peace sign.
This is like before the grilling, but yeah.
Is it too low for you? Do you want to put it back higher? You can
this
just
is-
amend it. Yeah, you gotta loosen the
Okay,
screw.
let me see. Like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay, welcome.
Wait. Hold on. It's. Okay. Wait. Sorry, first time doing this.
No worries, man.
So, okay. I think this is good lah.
Good?
Yeah.
For you, okay.
Cool.
So as long as it's audible, then it's pretty good.
Yep. I mean, you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to the new set.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'm going to release this. Hopefully this weekend. So for the viewers, this is the new set. I haven't released the new episode, so you get the honor.
Wait,
of,
hold on. There's the frame is in the picture.
Oh, that frame?
Is that okay? Like,
It's up to you guys. We can see a bit of the chain stay.
yeah.
Technical problem. You know how expensive the bike is, and do you know where it came from?
Oh, but please tell me.
Gary bought it from eBay.
Huh? Seriously?
Poland, right? Poland.
Hey, you
it's,
shipped it. You shipped it all the way from there.
Yeah, and it came with all like very old school parts.
Hey,
Amazing. Maybe you gotta put one Ascent Polaris on that wheel. I don't know if it'll fit though.
hey, Shane, you want try?
Anyway,
Yeah.
Xiang, welcome to the set. Welcome to my show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
We have a lot of burning questions we would like to ask you and you about your company. So you, as a quick introduction, you run your own, do I call it a bike company, a wheelset company?
It's a bike brand.
Yeah.
So I started cycling in 2016, and then I started Ascent on the side around 2018, and then went full time in 2019.
Okay. So you are the founder of Ascent Wheels? Or Ascent Bikes?
Yes, Ascent Bikes.
Ascent Bikes. Okay. So it started started with bikes first.
Yes. So actually, the first bike I ever owned was one that I built myself. That was in 2016, and I was in my job for a couple of years already. And you look in the mirror and you realize, oh no, I'm not quite as slim or young or energetic as I used to be, right? And so I told myself, like, I need to start doing something healthy. And my joints aren't that good. I need to do low impact stuff. So there's the difference between there's a choice between swimming and cycling. So I tried swimming first because I used to do it, right? But the problem was, you need to find a swimming pool near you. And after that, right, after you get out of the water, there's a very convenient like mama shop there. And so like you always end up overeating.
Or the pratas.
Yes. So that's when I decided I wanted to cycle. And one of the things which made me want to start out doing bikes was I went to a bike shop, won't name which one, and they tried to sell me a $6,000 bike.
This is back in 2016.
That's back in 2016. So I was like, I'm looking for a bike. I just want to commute, from my house to work, and about 20 plus km. They're like, okay, you go and get this road bike. Then they're like, you need $6,000 for it, and that was more than my salary. And so that's the point where I asked myself, like, okay, I'm an engineer. Okay, I can probably use a wrench. So what's stopping me from building my own bike? So I did all the research. I made all the mistakes. I bought a carbon frame. I crushed carbon seat posts. I cut the cables too short. And unlike hair, it doesn't grow again, right? So I had to buy new cable set. Cut my chain too short also.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I had a nice working bike. And my family, my friends, my colleagues saw it, and they started asking me, hey, can you build one for me as well? And that's why I thought, hey, maybe there's something I can do in this area. Because it's fun to cycle. I really enjoy the freedom that cycling brings me. So it's like you're fast enough to go to places, but you're also slow enough to take everything in. So it was around 2017, 2018 that I decided, like, okay, you know what? I'm going to make a bike that is really suitable for Singapore's environment. So, I mean, we are very dense city. We are very compact. Our houses are smaller. So, I think many people would be quite interested in having a smaller bike, and I settled upon a mini Velo because, well, it's stiff. It has a performance that's a bit closer to a road bike, and it's also light. And that's how I started. I bought a couple of frames, built it up, sold it, and after that I said, okay, round two, what can I do to make it better? So, it's like many generations of like small improvements. Like you have a frame, what can you do to make it lighter, stiffer, more easy to use, require less maintenance, and then that's how actually Ascent started. And yeah.
And that was back in 2016.
That's around 2017, 2018.
2017, 2018. And it has been going strong. So you still sell mini Velos?
Yes, we do. In fact, we have a new range of mini Velos. Okay, not exactly new, but it came out around 2020, 2021, called the Intrepid. Actually,
we need our...
Right. Yep.
But while he's he's getting the wheel, so let's talk about yourself before we go on to your company. So you have what were you working as previously? I mean, for you to start a bike company, were you someone who was in the biking industry?
Actually, funny enough, not at all. I was an engineer, a defense engineer at DSO National Labs. So I spent around 6 years there, working on soldier performance. So for soldier performance, what we're trying to do is to allow the soldier to perform at their best. And part of it was also looking at human factors, like how do you make equipment that your soldiers can use when they are cold, they are hungry, they are tired, or being shot at. So, I mean, if you think about it, for cycling, sometimes you're cold, you're hungry, you're tired. Most of the time, you're not getting shot at. But yeah. So, I did things from like even backpacks for the army, and even things like user interface design and user experience. And I'm a product person. I really like designing products myself, and I thought, okay, like this, like I can probably make a difference in the biking industry as well.
Okay, so that's the past. Now you're running this full time.
Yes.
And sorry, I think actually Khai is holding his frame. I think he wants to pass it to us.
Yeah.
Do you want to keep it hanging there? Thanks,
sure.
man.
All right.
Okay, so you were saying this is the... pass it over, man. Thanks, man.
Cool. So this is actually the Intrepid. This is our high-performance mini Velo frame.
It's a mini Velo frame?
Yeah. It's,
oh, shit. I actually thought it was a road bike frame.
Well, road bike for very small people, I guess. but yeah, it's mini Velo. It takes like 20-inch wheels. You can see like the welding is... I think pretty much at the top of its game there.
Right. So for people who don't know what a mini Velo is, can you give us a bit of background? What is a mini Velo? And how is it different from a road bike?
Okay, so a mini Velo, I mean, mini, you get, it's self-explanatory. Velo is like, I think, bicycle in Italian.
Yeah.
So, So a mini Velo is a bike that uses smaller wheels. So most of the time you use 20-inch, so 406 or 451 size wheels. And I mean, in comparison, a road bike is 622, which is like around 40% bigger. So these bikes are actually pretty good because, well, the wheelbase is smaller. This can fit in a HDB lift without having to do any acrobatics. I mean, if you try to fit a couple of mountain bikes in a lift, you know how hard it is. This one just goes right in most of the time.
Yeah. And I think there was one time I was at TMCR, someone was on a mini Velo. I can't remember which brand, and this guy was going faster than me, dude. Like, mini Velos can go pretty fast.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. So we have some of our riders on mini Velos like the Intrepid, and they're on West Coast Highway. They show me their recording, and I see them going at 48, 49 km per hour.
Yeah.
I have no idea how they do it because I cannot. I mean, yeah, but so the size of the wheels doesn't necessarily determine how fast you can go. Most of the time, it's your legs, it's your posture, and even like how tight your jersey is, because that makes you more aerodynamic. But I mean, I've been on my road bike at TMCR also, and I'm doing 35, and I think I'm pretty happy about myself. And then this uncle on a mini Velo just goes by. He's wearing slippers, he's wearing shorts, and he goes by. By the time I reach Changi Village, he's there drinking coffee already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say that it takes a bit more effort to maintain the same speed as a road bike. Else road bikes wouldn't exist anymore, right?
Yeah.
But if you have enough leg power, I think the sky's the limit.
But I think it's also a good start for people who want to get into road biking, but maybe they're too afraid. Maybe it's too intimidating to get a road bike. Maybe it's too big for them. Maybe a mini Velo will be much more easier to mount, dismount.
Yes, and I think one of the other things is that the mini Velo is a lot more casual. Like when you ride road bike, you got this expectation. I need to wear a jersey. I need to wear a damn tight jersey. I need to wear like bibs. I need to wear like a nice helmet with a visor and everything. But for a mini Velo, actually, it's an everyday bike, right? You can have drop bars and everything, but there's no expectation. You can go out there, cycle to your coffee shop. You can, and the next moment you could be like chasing road bikes on TMCR. There are no expectations. You can use it anywhere, anytime, and no one's going to judge you for like wearing slippers or. Yeah, I mean, so if you look at this, right? This is it's like a dual-sided platform, and
I've seen this before. It's like a gravel kind of.
it's a touring thing. So it lets me use like normal shoes and SPD, not the SPD SL.
So this is your bike, right?
Yeah, this is my bike.
Okay.
And I use this because it's convenient. But if anyone sees me riding this with slippers, I think I'll get stormed or something. So yeah.
Okay. So back to wheels. I mean, today's agenda is about all Ascent Polaris. A lot of people submitted questions, but before we'll use the questions to drive the whole interview and the conversation today.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
Yeah, before I picked on the first question, maybe if you want to give us a bit of background, how did wheels come about? Because you started with mini Velos, and then I'm assuming more on road bikes. And how then did wheels come in?
Okay, so the road wheels came in around 2018. I mean, back then, like honestly, it just seemed like a good thing to do. I think there was a lack of wheels at the time, and that's where I thought, okay, we can meet that market need. So actually, we came up with the Zenith wheel first. Khai, very helpful as usual.
Thank you, Khai.
So this is the Zenith. This is what we came up with in 2018.
Is this the very first model?
Yeah. This is the very first model.
And you're still selling this now?
Yes. Okay. In fact, I mean, this is a good like a mid-range wheel. I mean, we start at like 1,399. So it's a pretty good mid-range wheel. It's 50 millimeters deep. So if anyone's wondering, do we have 50? Yes, we have 50. Right. I mean, it's an all-rounder lah. Like it's fast enough, it's light enough, and for like a very casual rider, I think this is more than good enough.
So 1.4K gives me a 50mm Zenith wheel sets.
Yes, with the Hub Smith hub. So this is actually our slightly better version. This one is the DT Swiss 240.
240. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And right. So started off with Zenith. So what's the difference between Zenith and then now you have the newer ones, which are the Polaris that we see it all over the internet?
Yeah. So in fact, I think that we didn't quite publicize the Zenith enough. That's why everyone thinks that Polaris is our first wheel. So this is not our first rodeo.
Now we know.
Yeah. So the Polaris was based on an entirely different like design concept. Okay, because what we realize is that the rider is a very, very important part of the equation, right? You can't just look at a wheel in isolation. And the rider, like you're the one who is controlling the bike. You're the one providing the power. You're the one who didn't get enough sleep last night. You're the one who's bonking at the end of the ride, right? So our philosophy behind how we design Polaris is that we take care of the rider. We make the rider confident, right? So a lot of wheels are, you look at speed, aerodynamics. You look at a very nice drag curve, and people like to compare it with other wheels. They say, "Oh, my wheel is the best because it has the lowest drag," and I think that's important, right? But that's not the full story. And for us, what we look at is how do we make you confident? Because based on my work at DSO, my previous employer, we found that actually you can have equipment that's really, really good. But if it's not usable, if the user doesn't trust it, then it's never going to perform at the level it's supposed to be. So for Polaris, we try to improve the rider confidence by prioritizing some design factors. So one of them was crosswind stability. So Singapore is only occasionally windy, right? But if you're going down a mountain road at, say, 70 km per hour, and a crosswind hits you, sorry, like your bowstring. Because, like you're going down, it's a single lane, the wind blows, and you know that if it blows the wrong way, you're going to go off the mountain.
Right.
And the first time that happens, right, you get spooked. Because for most of us, when we cycle, we want to have fun, right? And we also want to go home safe. So the first time that thing happens, right, you start losing trust in your gear. You jam the brakes. So no matter how aerodynamic your wheels are, the moment you tap the brakes, the moment you stop pedaling, the moment you start panicking, you look up. That's when actually all your advantage is gone, right? So that's one of the very important things that we prioritize in the design process. Like if the wind hits you, it has to be gentle enough, so that you get the idea that yes, there is crosswind, but you're still in control. You're confident. You know that your wheels will keep you going straight, and that's what we do. The other thing is also like comfort. You might think that comfort is the last thing I need. I'm fast, I'll finish the ride. But at the end of the day, you feel like you got beaten up, right? I mean, all you need to do is you can go to Seletar Airport. From Punggol to Seletar, there's a stretch, the Punggol Bara Islands. You try going, you get a set of wheels with carbon spokes. You run narrow tires, high pressure. You try going through that stretch. You'll not be able to pedal properly because you're just getting bumped around all the time. And what we found is that actually you lose a lot of energy by vibrating. Wait, that sounds wrong. Sorry, like your body is actually like there's a lot of stuff to like jiggle around, for lack of a better word. And every time something jiggles, it actually loses energy as heat. And if you expose yourself to too many vibrations, actually you end up getting fatigued. You end up getting stress injuries as well. So what we look at was, okay, how do we improve the comfort of the wheel? And that meant going wider. And what our design philosophy is that, maybe you might lose 1 or 2 watts aerodynamically, right? But if you save all the energy from vibrating and you're actually able to put power down your pedals, then you'll be that much faster. So we are all looking at speed. But I think the way that we are looking at speed is pretty unique in this in the universe of wheels that we have right now, right? We are looking at how we make the user faster, how we make them perform better, and instead of just pure aerodynamics, there are all the other things that we can do.
As a wheel builder, now the trend is going towards wider wheels, hookless, tubeless. Do your wheels come in hookless as well? And do you still have rim brakes? Sorry, just maybe on the first part is hookless and tubeless.
Okay, so our wheels are tubeless ready. We put like 2 layers of rim tape. We put a valve. We put sealant. We're good to go, right? But as for hookless, that's not something that we do. Purely from a compatibility point of view. So you see, like a hookless rim is actually cheaper to manufacture because you only need. Okay, so I'm going to get a bit more technical. So it's cheaper to manufacture. You only need like the mold to release from both sides, right? But because ours has a hook, now the mold is like a multi-part mold. It's more expensive to manufacture. But one of the reasons why we're not looking at hookless is because, one, your tire choice is limited. So you can have the best tires, but let's say you're overseas, you're riding, you have a puncture that cannot be fixed, and the tire is like slash or something, and you go to a bike shop. Chances are that they might not have that top end tire that you have, and now you're stuck because your nice shiny hookless rim cannot mount the tire. So that's one of the things. The other thing is also like the pressure ranges, because for most hookless rims, you're limited to around 73 psi. Some can go a bit higher. But when you're talking about riding on road, you're riding at pretty much near the pressure limit already. And if you see what happened, like you have seen like blow-offs from hookless rims because of the high pressure or from minor accidents, then to me, I want to make the user confident in the equipment. Like, this cannot happen. And that's why we go for hooked rims, even though they are harder to manufacture. But I mean, to me, giving the customer the best product is the most important.
Okay. I've got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
We've already spoken for about 30 minutes, but
Really?
That's fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
So we'll get the questions going, because a lot of questions, and
Yeah.
we just want to be as transparent as possible.
Sure.
So let me pick a few. Actually, not a few, but there are a lot. There's a question about your personal bike. Maybe we could briefly talk about that. So the question is, share a little bit about your personal bike, the sleek custom painted one, which I believe the user's talking about this one. What's this? What's this bike? It's unbranded. I don't see any brand on it.
Okay, so this is the Giant TCR 2025 model, right?
Wow.
No, it's not.
First
okay.
on my channel.
No,
2025.
Okay, so this was actually, we worked with a couple of factory partners in China, and this is one of the frames that they're like, hey, we got this frame, you want to try it? And at the time we were, the Polaris was just coming out, the 42, and I wanted to have a frame that would match well with the 42mm. I mean, I could have a very aero frame, but it's like if I put the shallow wheels on it, it's like you go to gym but you skip leg day, right? So I took the frame in, and then I decided I'm going to have a one of a kind paint job. So I bought the color shifting paints myself and hand brushed it, and then we finished it in house.
You did it yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so one of my COO is also very talented, and he can do airbrushing, painting, and all that. So actually, we have a full like in-house custom paint capability. But it's only for our frames because it's so labor intensive. Yeah. So I mean, well,
the group is new though. It's a new Ultegra 12-speed.
Yeah, because I have to look. It has to look the part, right? So
look the part, then the OSPW got to be slammed on lah. It's a very Singapore thing, OSPW has to be on there.
You got one? I can put it on right now.
I don't have, unfortunately. We're here at the bike shop, so maybe Shane might have one lying around.
Yep. So maybe after this we'll put one on. But you need to find one of the like matching colors.
Shane, got OSPW or not? Can be arranged? Oh, okay.
Can. Sure. But you got one in like chameleon, like blue, pink, purple. Okay lah. Can lah. Yeah, if Shane is on, I'm on.
Okay, that's about your bike. Okay, so back to the wheels.
Yeah.
Person would like to know, any bladed spokes coming into the collection? What spokes do you use for your wheels?
We use CX rays. They are bladed.
Sapim, right?
Yeah. In fact, if there's a round spoke on one of our wheels, something has gone wrong. Yeah, they're all bladed.
Do you think bladed spokes actually make a difference, or it's more like a gimmicky kind of thing? Because I've spoken to some riders, and they say that, you know what, bladed spokes I don't feel any difference on bladed spokes.
Okay, so we haven't done the testing ourselves, but November Bicycles, one of the websites online, I think they did a comparison between like round spokes and bladed spokes. So save about 1 watt.
Okay.
1 watt.
So all of your wheels come with bladed spokes?
Yes.
To save the rider at 1 watt?
Actually, it's not really about the 1 watt, okay? It's about your weight I mean, the bladed spokes are generally lighter than round spokes, unless you get to the really thin round ones. And in terms of building and like maintainability, especially when it comes to having straight pull hubs, right? A round spoke is an absolute pain to hold in place and tighten the spoke nipple with. With a bladed spoke, right? You have a spoke holder. It's like essentially a piece of material with a slot in it. You just put it over the spoke, and then now you can twist the spoke nipple as you need. But with a round spoke, you can't tell how much it's been wound up, and you can't. It's very difficult to stop it from twisting. You can have clamps, like spoke clamps, but then they end up like marring the spoke also.
Yeah. I have a very controversial point I want to bring up. We should bring up later a bit.
Yes.
You know it's coming from Hambini.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
yes.
we will come to that a bit later.
Yeah, please.
So, actually, the next question is about that. How come Hambini says your wheel isn't that fast? And on the topic of Hambini, how do you feel Hambini roasted you?
I mean, I got a couple of shades darker after that, right?
So tell us about that Hambini thing. I know I feel someone who had your wheels and I actually inserted Hambini's review. So if I recall correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, you sent your wheels over to Hambini?
Yeah, we sent it over around like January, February, I think.
Yeah. And I think when he said something about the spokes. So on the topic of spokes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
So he titled his video like, oh, this review cost a $2,000 wheel recall or something, right? Actually, that's not really accurate. It was his video like 2 videos before. So what happened was he was reviewing another brand's wheels, and he showed that the carbon spoke failed, right? And I took a look at it. I was like, wait a minute, this looks like exactly like my spoke. So I reached out to him like proactively. I said, hey, like that wheel failed. Like what's the issue? And then we actually discussed it, and it turns out that so a carbon spoke isn't entirely carbon, because a spoke that's entirely carbon would be impossible to tread onto. So actually both ends are metal, and they're glued together with a carbon spoke, like the carbon body. So what was happening was that the glue was failing, and because of that, the spoke would just like pop. Okay, you lose tension. So after discussing with him, we realized that, okay, despite the testing that we did, okay, so just as an aside, we sent the wheel, because I was nervous about it myself. We sent the wheel to Belgium. They put it through like 5,000 kms of like bump testing, and another 1,000 km of like sprint testing. So it's like the bump testing with a load, except now you're like swinging left and right. So it passed the test. So we thought, okay, maybe the wheels are good to go, right? But it turns out that, okay, that didn't catch all the problems. And after discussing with him, we realized that, okay, this would be a safety hazard. And I decided to proactively recall the wheels globally.
So if Hambini did not pick that up, would that wheel still be in production?
Well, it could have been, but I think, we try to do the responsible thing, right? The moment any of these problems comes up, and if it seems to be a systemic issue, not like a random occurrence, then we will have initiated the recall either way.
So you are not selling carbon spokes right now anymore because of that?
No, we do not sell carbon spokes anymore. So we did a full recall globally, and that was painful, but I think it's necessary, the right thing to do also. So I think for all the wheels, we only had one person who wanted a refund, because the rest of them said, okay, I like the rims, they work really well. Can you just send me the replacement spokes? So what we did was we got spare spokes, right? We used CX rays. We sent it to them. We paid for their the labor to relace it, and we have many happy customers around the world also.
You were explaining about how the spokes failed on carbon spokes, but how are other companies able to do it and they are not failing? I don't know if they fail, but
so there are other brands like Windspace, for example, who use carbon spokes. So theirs use a different technology, like called taper lock. So their technology actually, there's a piece of metal there that prevents the carbon spoke from ever coming out. So it's really nice, right? The reason why we didn't go with that was because it forced you to using a proprietary hub. What we wanted to do was to offer carbon spokes with hubs that, like Qing, DT Swiss, extra. We wanted to have the freedom of we wanted to have the freedom of choosing what hubs we used, and the hubs that use that technology don't offer that. You need a proprietary hub for that. So yes, you can definitely use. Yeah, how do I put it? Their spokes should work, Yeah.
Will you ever come up with your own hubs, in-house hubs, in the future? Is that something that you are thinking of?
Yeah, I mean it's something that we are thinking of, but bringing things to market is not just like I think about it and it comes to market. There's a lot of R&D. There's a lot of cost that goes into even prototyping, the testing, and we will only release products that we are fully comfortable with. So actually, if you look at the bike behind, it's hiding in plain sight. We have some hubs there that we design ourselves. It's still being tested by me and a couple of other riders. This was actually a pretty long process. We started in around March this year. And, due to things like COVID and production delays, testing, this has gone like 3 or 4 iterations already. I'm not fully confident in releasing it yet. But once it's ready, then we will.
Okay, so we all might see hubs coming in the future.
Yes, if we got a couple of riders right now, like being completely brutal with them. So if they hold out, then good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next question is, what makes your wheels so special? And I'll go on to pricing a little bit later, but in your own words, what makes your wheel special? Okay,
so I think everybody wants to be fast, right? But I think we are one of the very few companies that prioritize the rider. We look at, instead of what makes the wheel fast, we look at what makes you and the bicycle fast. And so like I mentioned earlier, right? Like the rider is the one that controls the bike, powers the bike, and you're human. You're not a machine. You have good moods, you have bad moods. You're tired at the end of the ride, right? But how do we make a wheel that actually gives you the confidence under all conditions to ride? And that's actually how we are kind of different from other brands, because other brands they look at, okay, my drag curve is very nice. I have lowest drag among all the wheels in my class. But what happens when the wind starts blowing? What happens when the road gets rough? What happens when the rider is tired? All these things are factors that we consider, and that's how we make our wheels fast. Our tagline is actually confidence is speed, because if you don't dare to go down that mountain road, you don't dare to take a corner at high speed, then actually no matter how fast your wheels are, you're never going to be faster than the person who dares to just send it.
But it's a combination of other components as well, primarily the tires. It's in contact with the road, right? And the next question is, will you ever make your own tires?
Okay, so, all right, yes, the tires are really important, but how the tires interact with the rim is also important. You can put a 35mm tire, right? It's very wide. But if you put it on a skinny rim, for example, then you can try running lower pressures, but it's going to get very squirrely. It's not going to corner properly. It's not going to be predictable, and you're going to feel like you're going to wash out at any time. So, like our rims are actually wider. They interface with the tire very nicely. So when you're cornering, you feel very planted. In fact, one of our clients was in Canada. He bought our 69mm first after recall, after Hambini's video actually. So he bought it and he liked it enough to get our 42 even before it was released. In fact, if you look at our launch video for the wheels, he liked them enough to star in the video. So what he told me was that he put on some Pirelli tires, and compared to his other wheels, so he has ridden Envy, he has ridden Zips and all that. They tended to chatter. I'm quoting him like directly. They tended to chatter in the corners, but the Polaris never felt that way. So for him, he races in criteriums, and he says that helped him win, because now he could carry a lot more speed in the corners. He could brake later, he could go in faster, and he could exit the corner faster. So compared to other people, like he would just you just overtake them in the corners, in the switchbacks.
Do you have recommended tires that people should use? Like for example, I use Envys, right? I don't know about other wheels because I'm primarily using Envys. They have on their website like what tires you should use for optimal aeroness and stuff like that, and which width and different brands. Do you have that for your tires?
We actually did wind tunnel testing. I mean, actually the Vittoria Corsa Nix that I have on my bike here, it performed like really well in aero testing. So, I mean, I use it. What I do know is that it's a bit slower than the GP5K. So, I mean, I think all in all, I think that the GP5K is a really good choice. But for me, I use the Corsa Nix because it feels really comfortable. It feels very grippy, and to me that's more important than pure outright speed.
And I remember the first time I interacted with you was when I saw GC Performance releasing the wheel sets. Yeah. And I commented and I said, these wheels it's huge. Like the width on these rims are extremely wide. I said these are mountain bike tires, these are not road tires. But I understand the industry trend is going towards wider tires. Now you see 28s, but call me old school or whatever, right? Back then it's like 21, 23s. Even now I'm still running 25s. I've gone on 28s. I got back to 25s. Purely for the reason that in Singapore the roads are so smooth. I don't feel a need for 28. What do you think of that? Like how wide are your rims?
Okay, so both Polaris are 23 millimeters internal. Externally for the 42 it's 32.5. For the 69 millimeter it's 35 at the widest point. So I've ridden 25s before, and yeah, when the road is smooth, it's really good. So let's put it this way: if you have barely any wind, if you have very very smooth roads, then yeah, please ride the deepest wheel you can, ride the narrowest rim you can, ride the narrowest tire at the highest pressure. The thing is that real life isn't always so good. And so to me it's about accounting for real world conditions. Like the last thing you want to do is to hit a rough patch of road and like get chattered around. You can't pedal, you can't you're just hanging on for dear life. And that's not a feeling that would make you confident. That's not a feeling that I like to experience also. I rather be in control. I rather be like, okay, it's a rough patch of road. I know my equipment can take it. I know I can take it, and I'm just going to power through it.
Can you talk me through the lineup of your wheels that you have? I'm only familiar with the 69 because it's everywhere.
I mean, everybody likes, right? So we have the 69, we have the 42 millimeters, and we have the Zenith, which is 50.
So 42 is recently released?
Yeah, only in October this year, actually.
Okay, so why did you go for 42? Like, why did you release a deep wheel first, then now towards a 42?
Okay, the deep wheel was actually like to make a statement. Like at Ascent, we can do enough to release a wheel that's deep, fast, and stable. Okay, so I think that was about making a statement. The reason why I think the reason why we did that is because I think that was pretty like noteworthy, and people would take notice of it, right? But we also listened to customer feedback a lot, and one of the things that they said is that deeper wheels are, they tend to be less stable, right? So actually, some of them didn't dare to take on a deeper wheel at the time, and we had a lot of requests for something shallower. So that's when we decided to design the 42, which is an all-rounder. It's great for start-stop, for climbing, and I mean it's generally just a lot of fun to ride.
And the width dimensions is the same as the 69?
So the inner width is the same. The external width is a bit narrower. We optimize the profile a bit more for the shallower depth also.
So it can't be going at such wide rim.
Actually, we did a wind tunnel testing. You can actually run this up to 32 millimeters at pretty much no penalty.
Can I run this on the gravel setup?
Please go ahead. In fact, Pick Talk actually took our 69 millimeter onto a cross country XC. So yeah, he was doing XC on a road bike.
Wow. And
he's been riding those for many thousands of kilometers, still true, still good. So yeah, please feel free to take it on gravel.
That's what Durian Rider would say. Like, rims are going so wide now. These are gravel bikes. They're no longer road bikes anymore. They're not a pure road bike, right?
Yeah, but see, the thing is, so I think it's getting a bit more philosophical here, right? But to me, I think there's always this danger of segmenting it into too many different niches already. So I would consider this an all-road wheel. Like, you can ride on roads that are nice, you can ride on roads that are not so nice. I don't recommend you go like on the trail with this. I mean, if you're like a Danny what is his name? Danny Megaskill? Yeah. Sure, go ahead. But I mean, for most of us, like, yeah, nice roads, not so nice roads, go ahead, right?
What's in the works? So you got 6942. What's the next one coming up?
Well, it's a hard question actually, because
is it 2 PNC that?
No, it's not really PNC, but it's more like you have to consider the effort that actually goes into making a set of wheels. It's not really just about, I think about it and then bam, it's there. There's a considerable amount of expense in your hardware, your simulation, your software to actually run the aerodynamic simulations. You have to do the carbon layup. You have to actually do. I mean, nobody wants to build to explode, right? I mean, not me, of course. So when we do the carbon, like, we have to actually figure out how much carbon to put in what direction, how many layers, and all that takes a lot of time, and that's even before the first wheel comes out, And then you have to invest in tooling. You have to, which is it's like tens of thousands. You have things like actually testing and actually blowing it up. So we do destructive testing as well. So we there's one test we put a tubeless tire on the rim. We put it to 180 psi, and it was behind the blast shield. So it didn't blow, but we left it there for a couple of days to simmer down a bit before we dared to actually go and press the valve release button.
So at what pressure will it burst?
It's a good question. We didn't get there because for most of the time you test it to 140, but the one we just decided to, for the heck of it, right, put it to 180. And after that, we really didn't dare to even step in the same, like,
you might just explode anytime.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So behind the blast shield, we just left it for a couple of days.
Yeah. Okay. So where's all your testing done? I'm assuming, is it in Singapore or you do it somewhere else?
So we do. Okay, wind tunnel testing. Singapore, I don't think we have.
DMCR, West Coast Highway.
Yeah. Okay. So wind tunnel, we send it to A2 in the US. And for like impact, reliability, fatigue testing, we do it in Belgium. So they help us with the UCI testing, and we actually test above and beyond because for UCI, actually all you need to do is you hit the rim once with they call it an impactor. So it's supposed to simulate a collision, right? And we go above and beyond that. We do like fatigue testing, bump testing, sprint testing. And that's actually before we even sell the first set.
So it has to be UCI certified?
No, it doesn't have to be.
But you are UCI certified?
Yes, we are. Because, some of our clients like to race, right? The last thing you want to do is you show up at the race overseas and they tell you, sorry, you cannot race.
But how do they check though?
No, there's an approved wheels list. So if you go to, you search like UCI approved wheels list, right? Actually, you can download the entire list. You'll find all the different brands there, which of the wheels, how many spokes, what the spokes are made of, what the rims are made of, and you have all that data. And I think the race commissars will actually look at it and see whether your wheel is does it meet the requirements or not.
What do you think is the most rigorous test done by UCI to make sure that it's UCI legal?
That's the test for wheels. One impact, 40 joules. And if it doesn't deviate more than 1 millimeter, I think you're good.
So are you given like a second chance? Let's say you failed the first test. Are you allowed to do it again? Or
we haven't failed before, so I can't tell you. Yeah.
Is it something like an exam where there's like a period of window where you gotta, after a year you can only send it back, or can I do it immediately?
No, I'm really not sure. I don't know because we haven't had a situation where we had to send it twice.
No, just curious. Just wanting to know this. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question. Do you sell your wheels in rim bricks or are they all disc?
Okay, so the Zenith comes in rim brake also. The 69 also in rim brake. The 42 no. So the reason being that, okay, at first I thought, okay, let's make it rim and disc compatible, but there are a few different considerations. And one of them is the width. So when we came out with the 69 rim brake edition, right, we realized that actually quite a lot of frames wouldn't be able to support it because they were never built with a wide tire clearances in the first place. So for those that we sold, we actually assembled it ourselves. We actually helped to set it up ourselves in our workshop. But we realized that because we're selling this overseas, it really won't do if there are compatibility issues. I mean, you send it there, and then it doesn't fit their bike. What are you going to do? Send it back? It doesn't make sense from a customer point of view. Doesn't make sense from our point of view also. So that's why for the 42 we decided, okay, you know what, we're going to go all in on disc brake, and we're going to optimize the rim shape and everything for disc brake.
In your opinion, are rim brakes dead?
Oh no, not at all. I think there's still many places where rim brakes are relevant. I mean, if you're a lighter rider, I mean, you stay in Singapore, right? There are no gigantic mountains to go down, So I think the rim brake is really good for its simplicity, its reliability. I mean, if you ever try to bleed a hydraulic brake by the roadside, I mean, I don't think you can, right? But I mean, if let's say you had a minor crash, your rim brake is misaligned, you just use your hands, you just tweak it, and it's good, right? So I think that rim brakes will have a place in cycling for many years to come.
Next question is also very interesting that I would personally like to know. Aren't your wheels just China wheels? And on the price, what makes it worth the price? Or essentially, are we just paying for warranty? So three points: China wheels, price, and what's the warranty like?
Okay, so it's a good question. So yes, our rims are made in China. We design it ourselves. So we own the IP, we own the molds. The wheels are actually assembled in Singapore by one of the best boutique wheel builders, like Built Wheels. And I mean, they've been around a long time. They're really good at what they do. And I mean, with a company name like Built Wheels, they better be good at what they do, right? So we've been working with them, and I try to bring things local. So I mean, the wheel builder is local, right? Heck, even our packaging is sourced locally as well. So the wheel box, we actually made it in Singapore. I mean, yeah. The thing is that in Singapore, we don't have that infrastructure yet to build carbon rims. So we're talking about availability of materials, the expertise to make it. We don't have that yet. And we chose to work with our partners in China. So we have a rim factory that we have been collaborating with for a long time. We chose to work with them because they are the way that we can deliver the best possible product to our customers. So they have access to the best carbon materials. And you look at our rims, like they are 1,300 grams, and this wide as well. Like you don't get to that weight without the best materials. And they have such a long history of making carbon wheels that their manufacturing expertise actually allows us to make our designs a reality. So if we design it, they can build it. And because we design it to top end specifications, we need a partner that can actually manufacture it to top end specs and get it correct. Because when you're at the top end, right, the margin for error is a lot lower. You need someone who can actually place the carbon in the right places, bake it at the right temperature, and come out with a rim that's safe, that's straight. And yeah, that's why we build it in China. So I would say that the question is slightly okay. Rather, I like to reframe the question, you see, because when people look at iPhones, they are designed in California, but they're made entirely by Foxconn in China, and yet they are still one of the most premium phones around, right? So I think the idea that China has to be cheap is a bit of a misnomer. or anything that's Chinese has an inherent defect in quality, it's also it's not the right mindset these days, especially since they've been doing carbon rims for such a long time. They probably know more about carbon rims than most of the other places on the planet. So, in order to give the best possible product to our customers, that's why we chose to work with our partners in China.
How's the building process like?
So, building process in what sense?
So you say you have the mold and everything is all done. You have the mold in China.
Yes.
Yeah, how is the wheel being made? Is it like carbon layering? Sorry, I'm not too technical of a person, so I wouldn't know.
So generally, you would have a preform. So that's what actually forms the inside of the rim, and then you layer you layer the carbon over it, and then there'll be an air bladder. You put it inside the mold, and then you heat it up. So most of the carbon that we use in wheel manufacturing is called pre-preg. So carbon fiber actually is not just carbon, it's carbon with epoxy. So epoxy is the glue that binds the layers together, right? So for pre-preg, what they do is that it comes from the factory already impregnated. So that's why the preg is there with glue, with the epoxy. So you layer it together, you put it in the mold, you heat it up, and that's where the glue starts to react. It starts to come alive. And so during that time you apply high pressure, you drive out the excess epoxy, and once it has finished reacting, it's set, then that's where you have the rim. Of course, this is a massive oversimplification because how you lay up the carbon is very important. So carbon fiber is a very different kind of material from metal. So metal is strong in all directions, but carbon is only stronger along the axis of the fiber. So, like how we design it is that we look at where all the stresses are coming from your spokes, from the tire and all that, and then we look at what kind of carbon, how many layers, what kind of direction the fibers need to go in, and so we come up with something called a layup schedule. Like literally it's like take this piece in this shape, put it where, in what direction, and you get it correct. You put all layers together, you put it in the mold, you come out, you follow the recipe correctly, you have a wheel that works.
And is this method being done across all other brands? So
there are many different composite like carbon fiber manufacturing techniques. So this is what we do is like pre-preg layup. There are others like that use something called filament winding. So if you see like a butterfly pattern on the rims, yeah, that's filament winding. Some brands like I think Time, they use something what you call vacuum assisted resin transfer molding. So what they do is that they have dry fabric, and then they use a vacuum to pull the resin into the fabric. So I mean there are many different manufacturing techniques. So they all have their pros and cons. I think that's a bit out of the scope of this video.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's a fascinating thing. It's also sometimes a bit of a black art.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only simulate so much. Sometimes you really need to blow stuff up.
What about warranty?
So we have a lifetime warranty against manufacturing defects for the original owner, and also a lifetime parts crash replacement policy. So what this means is that you crash, if the rim is unrideable, all you need to do is pay for the labor and shipping. I mean, in Singapore there's no shipping, but if you just have to pay for that, you'll replace the damaged parts at no cost. Okay. So it's lifetime for the original owner, and actually I would say it compares very favorably with the top brands out there.
Okay, so can I just wrap my head around the process of in terms of logistics, right? So it's designed here, made out of China.
Yes.
Do you get it sent back to Singapore and then it's done by Built Wheel?
Yes, correct.
Packaged here, and then you send it out again.
Correct.
Doing this process, right, back and forth, is it very costly for you?
It's costly, but you have to understand, we're trying to give our customers the best product. And having the final assembly step in Singapore is very important because...
So you do QC here as well?
Yes, and I mean, well, for lack of a better word, if there's anything wrong, I can call Build Wheels and ask them like what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So You see, the thing is that, yes, it costs more, but for us, the quality is important. And when you consider the cost of international logistics outbound, think about what happens in a warranty claim. So let's say a client in the US says, hey, your wheels arrive like with an issue, okay? And let's say it is a warranty issue. What happens now? I have to pay to ship the wheel back and fix the issue, and then pay to ship the wheel there again. So whatever profit I have, it's gone, right? It's a very costly thing. And not just that, it's costly to the brand reputation as well. We always try to do the best we can. We always try to do the right thing, right? And if it means it means like front loading the cost to deliver a better product, right? Then that means that I think it's worth it.
If I'm someone who is outside of Singapore, how long do I have to wait for your wheels to arrive if I place an order today?
Okay, so if our wheels are in stock, actually we do keep wheels in stock. Then, okay, this is a difficult question to answer because I'm not sure when this video is going to be released, but typically within a week.
Okay.
Yeah, typically within a week, because we try to ship by the next. If you try to ship by the next day, if you have it in stock. But as you know, like supply chains have been very, very volatile over the past 2 years, and I expect that it's not going to settle anytime soon.
What if I'm in Singapore? Do you do door to door?
Actually,
postage faster?
You just drop by our shop at Yishun, and we'll set it up for you, no charge. And I mean, okay, the only thing we charge for is like tubeless setup, because the thing is messy.
Yeah.
But if it comes to just like normal tires, we'll transfer your cassette, your brakes, your rotos, everything at no charge. In fact, the reason why we do it is because we want to give you the best possible experience. You come in, change your wheels, and you don't have to worry about, did I position my brakes correctly? Are my gears shifting correctly? We do it all for you, right? So the moment you ride out of there, it feels good. You enjoy yourself. Okay. And that's actually the kind of experience you want to have.
On the business front, my question to you is: do you see yourself selling more wheels compared to your road bike wheels? Is that something that you're moving towards?
Well, I mean, it has picked up recently. Actually, I think the 42s were pretty popular. In fact, we sold out in November, like when we're running like our introductory price sale and all that. Then they sold out, and I was kind of shocked because we thought we had lined up enough wheels to last, but nope, it's gone.
Okay. I forgot to touch on the point of price, so a bit controversial or sensitive, but we are trying to be very transparent here.
Sure.
So your pricing of, let's talk about the 69, how much are those?
So our 69s actually start at 2199, and they go up to like about 3499 for the top range wheels.
So what's the difference 2199, 3499? I'm assuming it's just hubs.
Actually, the hub, one of the things is the hubs, but actually at the top range also, the rims are raw finish, so they're actually special. They're actually special and lighter, and they look quite stunning also.
Does that save weight?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It saves a couple of grams, like about 20 grams like that. But the thing is, the weight is on the outside, and because of that, actually it counts a lot more than the weight in the center. So like you talk about rotational mass and all that, rotational inertia, you save some weight on the outside. Actually, it matters a lot more than weight you save on the inside.
So for 3499, I get the high end
you
rims.
get DT. Yep, our top end. You get DT 180 hubs with ceramic bearings, and you get our love and appreciation as well.
and on the cheaper one, I wouldn't say cheaper, but on the cheaper wheel sets.
I mean, you can get a 2199 one, like it's a DT 350, and it is heavier. But I mean, if you're getting the 69mm, personally, I would get the DT 240.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a well proven hub. It's light enough, and I mean it's reliable, and yeah. I mean, I wouldn't really go for the 180 unless I really wanted like the most like the highest end stuff.
So I remember when I first heard about your wheels, I checked it out. The pricing was very competitively priced to other major big brands, right? So I think there are some questions around pricing, like aren't your prices very close to big brands, and why is that so? And I might as well go for a more branded one, right?
Okay, so we offer a rather unique value proposition in the sense that the way we design our wheels is rider focused. We're not looking at we're looking at factors that actually matter in making a ride more enjoyable, making you faster, making you more confident, right? So when you choose our wheels, you're actually buying into the user experience, okay? And this, I mean, to talk about confidence, right? It also extends into warranty policies. Like when you're racing, the last thing you want to worry about is, what if I crash? What if I break the wheel? I can't afford to get another one. But for us, we got your back, right? And if you know that if you go all out, and let's say you crash, you take out half the peloton with you, right? You're covered. We will cover you. And that lack of worry behind, at the back of your head is what will help you to push yourself, is what will help you to ride as hard as you can and win.
Where do you think your major sales are to, in which geographical countries?
Okay, so actually we have a distributor in Indonesia. We have dealers in Philippines, in Vietnam. We're looking at, I mean, those are our B2B, and we have sales, actually kind of interesting. We have sales in US, UK, Germany, even Australia, New Zealand, Poland, and Lithuania. I've no idea how they found out about us. But one fine day, I just had a message in the inbox saying, hey, I saw your wheels. I want to get a set because winter is coming. I want to run 32mm tires on them. I want to go fast, and I think your wheels are the only ones able to do it. So, yep, took 2 rims. He's like, yeah, I have my own hubs. So we just took 2 rims, put them in a box, shipped them off.
But are majority of sales in Asia?
Yes.
In Singapore, I'm assuming?
Yep.
Okay.
Although we do have quite a few sales in the US actually. I think, well, you have riders like Norcal, who, I mean, they race a lot, right? And he races a lot. And so I sent him a set of wheels to race with, because I wanted to know how they would perform, like 69mm, how they perform in real life conditions. Because he rides in the Bay Area. The Bay Area is windy as heck. And he competes at, I would say, at least, if not the highest level, quite a high level. So we sent it to him. He rode it. He won it. He won races with it. So to me, that's a kind of validation that our wheels can actually perform in the real world.
So, but honestly, what's the feedback like from? So this question, right?
Yeah.
How's the feedback been from YouTubers who have tried the wheel? So I know you sent it to Hambini. We've already talked about him.
Yep.
Let's move on. So we've got GC, Peak Talk.
Yeah, so I would say all but one likes them.
All but one. All but one.
Yeah.
So it's still a majority of.
I would say
people.
the vast majority. But so I mean, if you don't mind, let's get back to like Hambini. So I think he and I we both we are both interested in speed, but I think how we look at speed and how we think we can achieve speed we are different. So he's looking at the pure like aerodynamic performance. Like, okay, are my wheels narrow? Do they have drag? Can they go fast? So by those metrics, actually, the Polaris is not fast because it's wide, and according to him, like wider wheels cannot possibly be fast. But where we are looking at is more of a holistic view. Like I mentioned earlier, right? We look at the rider. We look at what makes the rider perform better, and your crosswind stability, your comfort, your cornering performance, and even the warranty policy, right, makes you dare to go faster, makes you want to go faster. And so I think his point of view is also valid. I mean, when you look at it from pure engineering, technical point of view, it is valid. But from my experience in human factors, and in my previous job, we find that the rider actually contributes to a very, very big part of the performance as well.
Okay. So how was it like with NorCal, GC? And how was it like meeting Jeff from NorCal?
It was
you
nice.
went to the US, right?
Yes. So it was around August this year. So, well, I decided to fly to San Francisco to. Actually, I was heading to the East Coast to meet a friend, But along the way, I thought, okay, maybe the flight is a bit long, right? So I decided to make a stopover in San Francisco, and I just say, hey, like Jeff, are you free? Like, shall we have lunch together? So it's a short meeting, but it's nice. It was nice to meet him in person. I mean, like I would love to fly to the UK to meet Peak Top one of these days as well. So yeah, even GC Performance in Florida. Couldn't make it this time, but I mean, it's nice to meet the people that you send the wheels to.
Yeah.
Especially after 2 years, like you don't travel, and sometimes you wonder whether the person on the other end is a real person or is it an AI, right?
Yeah.
So that's that's how I met him.
Will you be looking at sponsorship towards pro teams?
Okay, pro teams, right? Yeah, technically, that's probably the best way to get your name out there, right? But I think as a Singaporean company, I want to support our local riders first and foremost. I think as probably the only brand that designs our own carbon rims, right? I want to support our own local riders first. And we are actually working with a couple of them already. Like Arif is doing a duathlon. We're working with okay, there's some names I can't mention just yet, but only next year lah. Yeah, so we work with Club Breakaway. They are a triathlon team as well. We are working with Lukman. So Lukman, he has our 69 millimeters. That guy is an absolute beast. Have you had him on the channel yet?
I might have seen his Instagram before.
Yeah.
But I don't have him on my channel.
He actually has our 69 millimeter wheels. He has brought them to Chiang Mai to climb with, and he thinks it's easy to climb. He also won the Singapore Criterium, the men's senior event. Earlier this year, the Tour de France event, right? So he took our 69 millimeter wheels. Technically, it's like a no in a Criterium. But he took them. He just won it by a couple bike lengths.
Okay. We are almost, it's about 1 hour plus. Let me just pick a couple more questions. This one is a bit of a sensitive one. You can choose not to answer if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Honestly, what's the production cost of a single set of expensive carbon wheels?
Okay, so I can't give you the numbers, but it's actually a lot more than you think. Okay, so yeah, I mean there is the act of making that carbon rim, right? But you need to consider how much you spend before the first rim even exists, right? So you're looking at hardware assuming you do your own aerodynamic analysis, right? If you want to just like whack it anyhow, then sure, go ahead. But if you want to do it properly, then you're looking at a very, 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 very powerful computer, like 10 over $1,000. You're looking at a software license, because the people who make the software, they don't give it for free lah, right? We use ANSYS Fluent.
What's that?
ANSYS Fluent is a I would say a world-class company that specializes in simulation. So the code that they write is used to simulate everything from, I guess, bicycle wheels to aircraft. So when you talk about aircraft design, your aircraft cannot fall out of the sky, right?
Yeah.
So they rely on programs like this to actually model and see how it performs aerodynamically. So we're using the kind of same world-class software to design our wheels, and that doesn't come cheap at all.
Okay.
So, that's just the front end, right? And you got to consider how long it actually takes to do it. Unless you're like the god of wheels or something, the first try usually doesn't work. You have to optimize. You have to see like, okay, how do I play different parameters against each other? Is speed more important? Is stability more important? Things like that. And then after that, okay, you finalize the design, you make prototypes, and then you make the tooling. The tooling is expensive, especially if you want to make it well. So tooling, making the first prototypes, blowing them up, trying again, making sure that you squeeze every bit of performance you can out of the wheel. You want to make the wheel as light as possible without blowing up, right?
Yeah.
Then there's actual third-party testing, your aerodynamic testing. Shipping the wheels to the US is one thing. The wind tunnels are expensive, man.
Yeah, just renting the place, right?
Yeah, just renting the place, and then you have to test with different configurations as well, and the cost all adds up. You send it to the Belgium for like impact testing, bump testing. I mean, you talk about 5,000 kilometers. Right? How long do you think it takes to do 5,000 kilometers? And the machine has been on. Somebody has been watching the thing. I'm paying for. You're gonna be paying for all of that.
Yeah.
And then after that, there's still I mean, I'm an engineer myself, but I know that marketing is really important, right? So we had like we also hired like a videographer in Canada. We have our own like local like Khai has been quite amazing at doing his videos. So yeah, we all this costs money before you even sell the first rim, right? So it's not just about like okay, how much does it cost for the carbon? How much does it cost for the oven, right? How much does it cost to assemble the wheel? Which, I mean, if you tried it before, it's not easy, right? And you got to consider all the other costs that come behind before the first rim even exists. And after that, how even the cost to sell those things as well.
Did you ever see yourself selling wheels? Like if you look back 10 years ago, right? Would you ever have expected you to be where you are today?
Okay, frankly, 10 years ago, wait. Oh. Okay, 10 years ago, I just finished university. I just coming back from the US to work in the government. I always wanted to start a business. I mean, that's the bug I caught when I was in the US studying. I mean, over there, like entrepreneurship is a huge thing. And well, I mean, I come back, I had to serve a bond. So that's, I always wanted to start it. Whether it's about bikes, no. Frankly, I didn't think it was. I mean, maybe, yeah, I'm a product person. So I think if whatever area you put me in, I could probably do something. It's just that it just happened that, I got hooked onto bikes in around 2016, and that's actually where it all started.
Yeah. Last question is there a weight limit on your wheels?
Well, practically about 120, 130.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I've got riders who are actually that heavy riding our wheels, so I think, that's not an issue at all.
Sorry, I know that was the last question, but I just thought of something.
Yeah, sure.
Not sure if you could disclose any kind of feedbacks that you get from riders asking you to amend your future wheels or things that could have been improved, if you could share.
Okay. So I think some of the feedback, kind of funny, right? But I think some of Hambini's feedback was actually really good, right? We're looking at how to improve our manufacturing process to make the insides nicer. I mean, so don't get me wrong, like none of the wheels have failed due to a manufacturing issue. In fact, I would say none of the wheels have failed, period. Right? So our wheels are actually built properly. They can be nicer on the inside, and that's something that we are looking at doing as well. In terms of feedback, actually the first thing when someone saw the 69, I was like, oh, so deep. So it was, that's actually what started us on our journey to create the 42. So, yeah, I mean, so far, well, the 42 will only be out for a month or two. So let's see how it goes.
But why such weird depths? Like why 69? Why a 42?
Okay, I ask you. Let's say I got 50. Yeah, let's say I release a 50 right now. Then the first question is you take from which factory in China? No, I mean, no, it's a real thing, right? I mean, because the 50s are so like common these days, and one, we did our aerodynamic optimization. So we actually tested different depths, different profiles, and all that. And so these were actually the ones that turned out the best. I mean, I used to joke that my software has a sense of humor. Like why suddenly 69, right? Right. But that was the best thing that we could come up with at that time. And likewise, when we wanted to design something shallower, with like almost zero crosswind response, right? Then this was the depth and the profile that actually worked the best. So, I mean, it also helps that it's a bit more distinct. It distinguishes us from the competition as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So when we think about 6942, we know it's the Ascent Polaris.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
really last question.
Please keep just keep them coming, right?
Why Ascent? How did that name come about?
Okay, I wanted something uplifting, you know. I mean, you see things like, I mean, no hate, but like you see like things like evil bikes or, you know, or like I just wanted something that was very uplifting, something that, you know, had a well. Okay, so I'm not really the kind of branding and marketing person, right? when I started it, but I wanted something that people could look at and feel happy, and I like the challenge of rising up because, you know, you're starting it from scratch. I started a business from scratch, and I wanted, you know, like they say, poo poo gaosen, but it's like, you know, I just wanted to have a name that people could remember, and that people could feel good about saying, yeah.
Thank you so much. I think that's an awesome interview. You cleared out all my doubts.
Thanks for having me also.
Yeah, and all the best, man, to the Polaris and the sales of your wheel sets. I know you want me to try some on.
Yes, in fact, I got a set right here for you to try.
Yeah.
Or, you know, in the case that you find a subscriber that would like to try the wheels, then please, you know, pass the set to them and let them try it. I look forward to their review as well.
Yeah, we'll work something out. So I think thank you for offering that.
Hey, no
we'll try to work that out, and then we put in the description how people can participate in this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, and thanks so much once again. Thank you, Khai, for coming as well, helping out with everything, and round of applause for QX, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Can't seem to break away. Lost in time, thinking about better days. Do you ever get used to the pain? 'Cause I don't know if I can do this again. Now you got me wondering why you let me die alone inside. I died for you, I cried for you, I tried for you. Tell me why you left.